and welcome to Telewizja Republika. You've probably never heard of Oleg Sergeyevich before. He was shot in the Russian city of Engels. This fact stormed world headline news because he was a pilot of Tu-95 strategic Russian bomber plane. This pilot was accused by Ukraine's military intelligence of launching missile strikes on civilian targets in Ukraine. Those strikes looked similar to this one. Shooting of the pilot raises a question or two regarding Russian war criminals' personal security, even far behind the front lines, not to mention the extent of Ukraine's intelligence and operational reach. Couple of days earlier, in a daring night operation named Citadel, Ukrainian special forces successfully targeted a drilling platform in the Black Sea utilized by Russia to extend the operational range of its drones. This platform, significant for its role in facilitating attacks on Ukraine's critical infrastructure and controlling parts of the Black Sea, was destroyed and important enemy equipment was seized. This operation showcases Ukraine's strategic efforts to undermine Russian capabilities in the region and their adeptness in special operations, challenging Russia's military presence in the Black Sea and disrupting their operational strategies. Speaking of which, destruction of the Ivanovets vessel by Ukrainian naval drones is an operation that will be discussed by the military professionals for years to come. It's a landmark even for modern warfare and the huge success of Ukraine as its military intelligence reported the sinking of the Russian missile corvette Ivanovets in the Black Sea near Crimea. This marks the first instance of a warship in full combat readiness being destroyed by a coordinated drone attack at sea. Operated by Ukraine's Group 13 unit, 6 Magura V5 maritime drones launched a sequential assault resulting in the sinking of the Ivanovets. This operation not only represents a significant blow to Russia's naval capabilities in the Black Sea, but also demonstrates the effectiveness and innovation of Ukrainian drone warfare. The success of this operation has been celebrated as a testament to Ukraine's growing prowess in asymmetric warfare and naval strategy. And this asymmetric naval warfare brings strategic gains for the state defending itself from Putler's Russia attack. Ukraine's navy has reported significant disruptions to Russia's Black Sea operations, stating that they have been, and that's a quote, greatly complicated, if not paralyzed, as official reports claim, due to the ongoing conflict with Russia, losing up to 25 naval vessels from its original deployment. The effectiveness and threat of the Russian Black Sea fleet have been substantially diminished. This development is indicative of the severe impact the prolonged conflict has had on Russia's naval capabilities, with Ukraine establishing its dominance in the Black Sea region through strategic operations and countermeasures. These efforts have effectively reduced Russia's operational reach and posed a significant challenge to their military objectives in the area. You can join us on rachon.com, that's our website. We post our reports from the front lines of ongoing war against the West. Here, if you do want to be ahead of the curve with the things that are going on as this war develops, leave us your email. You can follow us, you can become our subscriber and be in touch, because that's what we are going to talk about on my show. My name is Rachon. This is Rachon. And we roll in.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
And here to talk about all those things, one and only Chuck Farrer, expert on military, on naval operations, great friend of our show, of our program. Chuck, great to see you again.
Thanks for having me. Great to be on.
Okay, so let's start from those latest operations. Our viewers remember this. We discussed one of the attacks on the oil rigs or oil platforms a couple of months ago. And when I first saw the news about the latest one, I thought that we are actually talking about the previous one, but this is something completely different. What do you make of this operation? What does it mean? And what do you make of the part of information that consists of diminishing Russian naval capabilities and operational capabilities of drones, of Russian drones in the region? What do we know about it?
Well, we know that this operation was carried out by the 73rd Maritime Center of the Special Operations Force of Ukraine. This is a unit analogous to the U.S. Navy SEALs. These are maritime commandos. The target was what the Ukrainians referred to as a mining platform to the west of Crimea. There are oil platforms in the region, but in many cases where there are oil deposits, there are other deposits as well, salt or sulfur. And these platforms look the same, but they conduct different energy operations. What we do know is that this particular platform was closer to Crimea, should have been more under Russian control, but like the earlier two simultaneous takedowns, Ukraine was able to get its maritime commandos onto the site, enter, neutralize any threats that were there. But their principal target in this case was a control nexus for Iranian-made Mohajer-6 drones. These are long-range UAVs that can actually fire missiles and drop bombs.
So some other drones, those infamous Shahid suicidal drones, other devices that are controlled through this kind of electronic warfare infrastructure?
Absolutely. This platform was likely used as a waypoint so that the Muhars could fly into the vicinity of this place, receive updated targeting instructions, course changes, etc. And that was the principal target of the raid. You know, look at it this way. You never send a man where you can send a hand grenade. If you simply wanted the platform destroyed, you blow it up. If you need to steal something or get a particular person, then you send your frogmen. And this was another top-notch operation. Also, this happens in a non-permissive environment. This is ostensibly a place where Russia should have been watching, should have been patrolling, but Ukraine was able to get in and out without a scratch.
Okay,
Perfect
I remember
operation.
from our previous conversation about similar operation to some extent that you started analyzing it when we discussed it, with analyzing the way that Ukrainians were able to approach the target itself. What does it mean that this particular platform should have been watched by Russians? And if Ukrainians managed to do what they did, it means that they haven't been paying attention. Why? What do we know about blinding or distracting Russians in terms of this particular operation?
Well, just like every one of these, last week, Ukraine conducted a strike on Russian air defenses and their associated radars in the northern portion of Crimea. When that happens, there is going to be a blind spot. Russia will be less situationally aware until they get a new radar unit in there. And every time you hear of a successful anti-radar strike, operations against anti-air systems and their associated sensors, there is a window of opportunity where Russia is not as aware as it should be, and Ukraine always, 100% of the time, takes advantage of that.
So for
this is slightly off this subject.
For a professional like yourself, the information about destroying a particular radar station or radar infrastructure, it means that something is following this event. Something is going to happen because this is the place where the owner of the radar system is partly blinded. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And After that strike that occurred last week, not only did the Ukrainians carry out Operation Citadel, there's a very famous piece of video showing a Storm Shadow missile flying right over a Russian air defense site. And they stood there and watched it fly over helpless because their sensors were impacted. You must feel pretty stupid if your job is to shoot down stuff and it flies right over your head. I almost think it was done on purpose, and I'm serious. Right over, directly over the top.
You think that this is a kind of a military, I wouldn't go that far to just call it showing off, but proving that...
Proving, and right overhead of the more complex systems, they are least effective in a cone right above them. Their coverage is like a mushroom. So the safest place to fly was right over them. Pretty big city move.
Okay, I would like to have if you can tell us something more about the thing that you just draw our attention to. Did I understand it properly that in your opinion, the fact that this platform wasn't just blown up or just destroyed in that manner, that means that the unit that was there for some purpose, to steal some information, to extract something from the Russian stockpile of electronic warfare toys being there?
That is exactly why you would send naval commandos. So I am hypothesizing here, but I think I'm right on. Entrance was gained onto the platform. They knew precisely what they were looking for. They cut it out. They had torches. They had pulleys, lines, whatever is necessary to cut that piece of gear loose, lower it down from the platform, which is often 60, 70 feet high, lower it into a boat and get away with it. With that equipment in their hand, they will know lots about how the Mujer 6s are being directed, how they can be spoofed, how they can be distracted, put off course. So this is a high risk, high reward operation. And that's exactly what you had naval commandos for.
Okay, so that means that this is not only about this specific set of devices, this specific control room, but it gives the military intelligence of the country that organizes this kind of operation huge knowledge about the way that those drones are used and where are their vulnerabilities that then later on can be exposed and used against.
Absolutely. So you steal this thing, you make an exact copy of it, you put it out somewhere on the battlefield, and the incoming drone will respond to its signals.
Okay.
So armed with this, you could turn it around and send it back against Crimea. So that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's
Look, they do amazing things. These guys are top rate, first rate.
Okay, that's actually very interesting aspect of the thing. I'm sure that most of our viewers never heard about using this kind of operations in that manner. For those of our viewers who do not know who Chuck Farrer is, because I didn't introduce Chuck, because most of our viewers know it very well. Chuck is legendary Navy SEAL Team 6 commander, and he exploded a couple of things underwater during his military career, so he knows what he is talking about. Chuck, another question regarding this operation. How do you organize this kind of raid? How many people should take part in it? What is the usual way that this kind of operations are conducted? It's not like you can just take a boat and a dinghy and sail with a sailboat to the area and then do those things.
No, it's a really complex. The insertion is very complex. And the first thing you want to do is influence the electronic warfare environment so that your boats are not going to be conspicuous on radar. There are lots of ways to do that. Airborne jamming, just that's sort of off our lane, but that has to be the first thing. The second thing, you are going to need operators who are very skilled in offshore blue water navigation. The insertion on this was 100 miles, couple hundred miles. That maybe doesn't sound like much in your car, but if you are driving a boat at night in a rainstorm and you are trying to hit this little tiny oil platform in the middle of the Black Sea, your navigation has to be perfect. And then when the target area is approached, traditionally, I'm not giving much away here, a set of combat swimmers will be the first, or maybe even the major assault element will swim into the platform. On rebreathers, as we have in the background, they leave no bubbles, they make no noise. And beyond that, I won't really go into it so much, but once you've done that, once you've infiltrated, inserted the actions at the objective, they are measured in mere minutes, because these guys practice and practice and practice. They knew exactly where they were going, what they had to get, how long they could be on target, and what to do to cover their exfiltration.
Well,
First rate.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're swimming with their or diving only with their fins, because there are also devices that they use for it. The people who dive or try to dive or know a thing or two, there are also, of course, civilian use rebreathers. Divers use it, but this is the way that the combat divers dive when they are operating on not big depths. And I understand that that's the issue. You are not diving deep if you want to approach this kind of target, as far as I understand it. Chuck, but there is another very interesting thing that happened last week. A mysterious dead shooting of a pilot of strategic Russian bomber near the city where one of the Air Force bases that were previously attacked by Ukraine, he was shot. And actually all the media in the world informs that this is a Ukrainian military intelligence operation. What is the meaning? What is the way? Why Ukraine does this kind of things, if that's actually the case?
Well, I think it might be the case. I don't know for sure, but it certainly seems like it. Last year, a Russian submarine commander, Kilo-class submarine commander, who was known to have launched Caliber cruise missiles against Ukrainian cities, he was out for a run, and somebody pulled up and shot him. This is a similar case. In this case, this was a major. He was a pilot in command of a Tu-95 strategic bomber. That is the big turboprop Bear strategic bomber. They conduct missile attacks on Ukraine. They traditionally fly over the Caspian Sea, which is quite a bit away from Ukraine. They rotate and they fire their cruise missiles. I think Ukrainian intelligence was able to locate this person, and probably because of his social media accounts. But the important thing is that they were able to get an agent, an asset, a partisan, a patriot, whoever it was, into the area, knowing the target by face, by license plate number, and conducting a targeted hit. He was the only guy shot. No one else was wounded, and nobody saw anything. If you're carrying out an operation like this in your adversary's nation, you're just demonstrating that you have the reach. And this was determined that this is a largely symbolic target, but it sends a message, doesn't it? Every pilot of every bomber is going to think about this. And all the security precautions that are now going to be taken to protect Russian air crews in Russia, that's one less asset that can be thrown into Ukraine.
Yeah, and the psychological aspect of this operation is obvious. We know that Russia actually was conducting and is conducting the same kind of psychological operations against NATO pilots and other military personnel. They're trying to call them, they're trying to send them messages, but this is a kind of direct message to all the Russian military units and to military personnel in Russia. Another thing, the sinking of another Russian combat vessel, Ivanovets, and again, using of USVs, as those maritime drones are called. Is this a hit of a scale of sinking the Moskva at the beginning of the war of Russia against Ukraine? Is it the same kind of thing? Is the scale similar or possible to compare with those between those two events?
Well, this was a much smaller ship. A corvette is a vessel. Let's say you start at destroyer, the next level down is frigate, the next level down is corvette. But this was a capable ship. She was meant for coastal patrol, carries anti-ship missiles. What was interesting about this attack is that the videos cut between the points of view of several attackers. What was obvious to me was this ship had no idea she was under attack. None of her guns came into the fight. You can see if you watch the video again, her main gun is pointed fore and aft, meaning it wasn't in the fight. She has two automatic Gatling guns that are used for close-in defense. They didn't come into the fight. The only thing that they had in the fight were crewmen on deck with rifles. And if that's all you got, it's pretty bad. And you can see that there are thermal cameras on the USVs. This ship is powered by gas turbines, and there's two huge jet exhausts in her stern. And you can see her stern glowing. Yeah. And as she's hit, you can see that bright light become a dim light. She was hit amidships on the port side. That knocked her propulsion out. She was a sitting duck after that. She was hit at least one more time, but the coup de grace came when another of the USVs drove right in through the hole on her port side and detonated. That detonated her missiles, and she was gone.
I don't think that we saw any other videos being actually the action videos of this kind of attack, of sinking of a military vessel, and in a way, everyone can just follow step by step everything that Chuck just said about this attack finishing with a big blast. And that brings me to the final question, which is also related to the official news reports that are published after those several operations that took place in last weeks, or actually last days. I've read a report that Ukraine, which actually has no fleet similar to Black Sea Fleet, already won the battle of controlling the Black Sea, having no fleet of a similar size that Black Fleet. And I think that most of our viewers remember that the Black Fleet was the very reason for which Russia decided that it wants to hold Crimea and grab the Crimea. And now, after 2 years of war, Russia is unable to operate its navy on the Black Sea because of the way that Ukraine defended itself and actually took control over part of the Black Sea. Is that true? Is that the way that we should understand the situation?
Absolutely. Thus far in the war, Ukraine has sunk 24 man-of-wars, combat vessels belonging to Russia. Those losses amount to about 30% of the Black Sea Fleet. Operations like Citadel, Snake Island, the previous offshore platform, they show that the Western Black Sea is no longer a permissive environment for the Russian fleet. What's so vital about that is Ukraine, without a navy, has managed to exert surface warfare control over the western part of the Black Sea and thereby protect her commerce. And you look at what the Black Sea Flotilla is there for. It was to project Russian power into the Black Sea. It was also there designed to cut off Ukrainian commerce. That hasn't happened. So this is one of those things that is, we all watch it every day. We might not think about it, but in terms of naval history and naval tactics, it is a sea change, if I can say that. Never before in history have asymmetrical, unconventional means been used to defeat a conventional naval force. It's astounding.
So this is a war that is going to be studied in the naval academies. The Annapolis students are going to watch and analyze each of those attacks. Is that the scale of what we are talking about in terms of the naval warfare history?
They're just dissecting that video right now in a naval science class somewhere. They are looking at it. They're looking at the avenues of approach. They're winding back the operation. How did you get 6 naval drones in proximity to this warship without her knowing? What were the most lucrative avenues of attack? They're looking at it all. And especially the navies of the world are looking at that video and wondering, how would our ship do if it was under attack from 6 of these vessels? And most navies, including the United States Navy, they don't have a real answer for that yet. Yeah, so it's amazing.
What is the average cost, if we can say, I don't know about the scale of the cost of this kind of vessel versus cost of even 5, 6 naval drones? Because I think that it may also be telling in a way.
Well, I think you're looking at somewhere between $70,000 and $150,000 for each naval drone.
Okay.
Because they are put together with all these different parts of jet skis, controllers, satellite uplinks, etc. And there's a scale of production. Once you've made one, it's easier to make the next 10. But here's another interesting fact that 700 days ago, there were no naval attack drones. Okay, nobody thought of it. Normally, a generational change in a weapon, that usually takes like 10 years. First generation fighter, second generation fighter. Ukraine has made 5 generations of naval strike drones, and each generation takes about 6 weeks.
Incredible.
So we see what they've got now. What they've got next week may be even more capable.
So correct me if I'm wrong, so getting those 5 or 6 drones may cost up to $1 million, and then on the other hand, you got a vessel which is worth $100 million if not more.
Yeah, or in the case of the Moskva, it was irreplaceable, right? She was in bad shape, which is why she got sunk. They can't build another one. And by the way, Moskva was built in the Mykolaiv shipyards in Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay, the maths regarding the economical aspect of the thing that just happened, our viewers gonna do it. Chuck, thank you very much for your expertise, your knowledge, and your time. In a couple of days, couple of weeks, we try to connect again because the new information from this war come up. This is a kind of a summarizing of 2 years of naval warfare during this Russian attack against Ukraine. Chuck, thank you very much. Our viewers can listen to Chuck and his wartime talking points on RIA Report on Twitter Space. I highly recommend it for anyone who is interested. Chuck, thanks a lot. See you soon.
Thanks, Vikas. See you soon.
You can join us on rachon.com. That's our website. We try to build, analyze, and publish analyses regarding the ongoing war against the West. If you leave us your email, we try to send you those stuff as often as we are able to produce it. So stay safe, see you soon, and stay tuned. We are coming back on Telewizja Republika tomorrow. Ciao.